Live, the show that is unlike any other cigar show, where we have the most eclectic lineup, some who smoke cigars and some who don't. The best content weekly. Zone Live is sponsored by StogieLives.com. The Stogie Lives, it's a social media website just for cigar smokers. So if you're tired of Facebook and the way that they censor you and all that kind of stuff, you can go over there and set up an account and everything. You can do groups and make your own profile and all that good stuff. So check out StogieLives.com, and it's awesome, brand new social media site just for cigar smokers. It is growing. It's been going great. And also, if you look in the show description, Herf Zone Live, Team Shirtless Mike, we are partnering up with Stogie Press and Ace Prime Cigars. They are raising money for the people of Jalapa, Nicaragua. In the description box, and Jimmy wrote out a whole article about what they're actually doing and everything, so you can check that out. You can make a donation, and you can see how much has been raised so far. That's kind of an ongoing process and all that good stuff. So before we get this show started here, I do want to just update everybody, because I've kind of posted it on Facebook. So now I'm officially in the cigar industry full time. I just finally got a job at a cigar shop, Smoke Ring 72 in Merritt Island, Florida. So if you ever come to Brevard County, or you're in Brevard County, make sure you come see me during the week. I'm off Thursdays and Sundays, and I work the day shift. I get off at 5, so come through, all that good stuff. So I'm going to play this intro, and we are going to get the show rolling. And waiting patiently in a Cigar Hustlers podcast green room, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Kerr Viajante, and I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. What's going on, Kerr?
What's going on, man? How's your
Not
day?
so much.
How's
We
your
got
evening?
a bunch of comments because I've been telling people to make sure that they go on the YouTube and my Shirtless Mike page. So what's up,
Yeah.
everybody? So yeah,
Good.
how's your day been today, Kerr?
It was a crazy day, but it's calmed down some. I'm really happy and honored to be here and be a guest on the show. I've followed you for a while, watched the show, and I'm just really excited to be here, man. I really appreciate you having me on.
Hey, no problem, man. It was an honor that you hit me up and wanted to come on,
Yeah.
because I have like a long list of people. I don't know if you feel the same way. You have like a long list of people, and if you only do like one show a week, it takes a while to get to them. But you're like, hey, I'm gonna eventually get to you. So it's one of those things. I was already starting the process, and you were like, hey, can I come on the show?
Man, I
And
got it
so it's
right
cool.
time.
Yes.
Awesome,
Yeah, because I was trying. It kind of makes it easier.
Well, yeah, it definitely does. I mean, it's interesting because we're starting to with my show, or show I do at Lars Teton's. Um, you know, we're starting to get some folks on the show here on the second half of the year, but for a while there, we were just like, you know what, let's just kind of just hang out, because we went through a whole process and doing all the guests and the preparation. There was a lot of stuff going on and a lot of craziness. I just wanted to have a little bit of a lull there and not have to worry about too much of anything. So I'm like, all right, Lars, we're just going to hop on and we're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about and just be stupid.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a co-host, I would definitely do the same thing. So, but it's cool. It's just me, and I bring on somebody, and normally I get into like a deeper, like a deeper whole thing. But you've been out there for a while doing shows. Your story is out there, so I have a background. So we'll just get to like the most important meat, of
The
everything.
fun
And
stuff.
yeah, you sent me some cool blends. Like I've already explained to you, the Green Grass Gringo is the favorite one that I've smoked so far, and I believe it was the Big Tony that I smoked. And I'm smoking I keep getting them confused because they don't. They all have the same band.
They
I
all the
just have to
same
go
band,
by
man.
the barber pole, so I get
You
confused with
gotta
it.
go by the barber poles, man.
So
That's the Edition 35.
yes,
That's
that's
the
the Edition
OG.
35, and I'm liking this so far. And it looks, and the burn is correcting itself because I accidentally like bumped the wrapper, and it was starting to come off. And then now that it's like burned, I'm just taking it really carefully and
Yeah,
everything, and it's going pretty good. So we're gonna get into the actual interview here. I don't have any questions prepared to everybody in the audience. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. But I do have topics, so I'm gonna freestyle all these questions tonight. So let's
perfect.
start
What
out
I love.
here. Your name is not Kerr Viajante. I've heard on other shows. Your first name is Carrie,
Yeah, it's Carrie. Yeah,
and your last name is Horny, correct?
that is correct.
All right. So, where did you get the whole Viajante thing? Like, how did that all come
Dude,
about?
that's actually a really funny story. But when I started doing the show, it was the Viajante Stogie Road show, and it started off as a group on my personal Facebook page. Um, and I used to do it with my buddy Duncan Ramon Echevarria, and well, I used to travel all the time for work, and I used to go to cigar shops, and then we started doing a show, and he goes, man, you're Viajante, you're the traveler, that's a great name. So I'm like, okay, so we came up with Viajante Stogie Road. So it was the Stogie Road show, and then I started a Facebook page, Viajante Stogie Road show, or Viajante Stogie Road. And then I'll never forget, I was in Baltimore. I was going to a meeting, and I was bringing some food. And what's up, Bones? And I got a message on my Facebook that Viajante Stogie Road was acting more like a business and not a person, not a personal page. I needed to shift and change to a business page, or make the corrections for make it a person's name. So I'm like, and I had like, I ignored the all the different warnings, and it was like, it came down to like, you have to change it now. And I remember doing some research, and I had at the time maybe about 1,500, 2,000 friends. And I'm like, if I change it to a business, I lose all those friends.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit. So I had the door open. I got my one leg out the door, and I'm like, oh, I got to do something. So I erased Stogie Road. I had Viajante, and then I'm like, okay, that'll be my last name. I put Carrie. And I'm like, well, no. And I'm like, oh, everybody calls me Kerr. And I'm like, all right, I'll just drop the Y. I'll put Kerr Viajante. That's going to be the person for the page. And then I'll worry about it later. I'll change it later. Right now, I just got to secure all the folks that I'm friends with. And I did that, and it just stuck.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I was wondering if it was like I always wondered that. I'm like, because when I found that out just from following you on social media and all that, I was like, I mean, I figured it was because your last name is Horny and people might, make all kinds of innuendos or something like that
I
because
give a
of
shit
your.
about that. I'm freaking old. I dealt with it all, man. I mean, when you're my age and you have a last name Horny, I mean, you really got to come up with something really original to kind of make me even a little irritated or even laugh. It's I've heard it all. So that wasn't the case at all. It was just
Yeah.
having the Kerr Viajante, and I was like, and that was, God, 3-4 years ago that happened.
Mm.
It's it's Kerr, but if you're from Jersey, it's Kerr. The fucking Jersey Kerr, hey Kerr. But I mean, that's kind of the whole story. I mean, but Viajante, my buddy Duncan, was like, that's who you are. And even when I first came out with my cigars 3 years ago, the original name was El Viajante.
Mm.
The original box was El Viajante and the Cigars Edition 35. And then realizing that Viajante was really close to Viaje, and kind of got a letter that said, a little too close. And I said, okay, fair enough. I respect the industry. I respect that company. They make some great cigars. And they've been around for a while, and I understood exactly when I got the letter that that okay, I see what you're saying, and I just changed it to Stogie Road Cigars.
Awesome. And so you started off traveling. They call you the traveler, and you got into you decided one day you wanted to come out with your own cigar. So how did the Stogie Road Cigars come about?
Well, it was yes, Kevin Corbelly's. I'll take it easy on Jersey. Jennifer's from Jersey, so I have to. Um, just going into the different cigar shops that I was visiting, and there is a lot of them. I got a chance. I really got a chance to see regional impacts, especially with boutique. It was actually pretty cool because I'm down in South Carolina, and I go to South and North Carolina, but then I go to Pennsylvania, Maryland, and that's when I got introduced to like Black Label. I got introduced to Cornelius and Anthony, and you couldn't find that stuff down here, except for one shop, the Cardick's place in Bowling Springs. But the one thing I noticed when I was in the shops is I liked barber poles. I thought that they were appealing. They were eye-catching. I loved the whole story of being able to, you could use every portion of the tobacco leaf. And here they're taking two to give you a flavor profile that's going to be unique and different. Almost kind of you can see the cigar and kind of anticipate what the flavors are going to be because you have this dual wrapper. And it reminded me of the Stogie Road that I was traveling, the windy Stogie Road that I was traveling. So I wanted to come out with a barber pole that wasn't a cigar that was an afterthought, and it wasn't a cigar that was an event cigar, a promotional cigar, or St. Patty's Day cigar. I wanted something that was going to be a good staple that folks who smoke, who are newer cigar smokers and experienced cigar smokers would enjoy, because it would be a cigar where the flavor wasn't going to be too overwhelming, but it was going to be complex and transition that will keep the cigar enthusiasts engaged.
Awesome. Now, coming up with blends and everything, like, do you just kind of like have ideas of what you want when it comes to the different tobaccos, like just based on what you smoked over the years? Like, what's your process like when you're coming up with blends? Because are you going down there to the factory? Is it more of a you contact who's making your cigars, and you're like, this is
Right.
what I want, and you just kind of have to sign off on it after smoking a bunch of them? Like, how does all that work for you?
Well, originally it was a lot of discussions over the tobaccos that were available, the flavor profile, what tobaccos will give you the flavors that you're looking for, and then getting some samples and giving them a try. The first factory I was with, there was I think 3 attempts to visit the factory, but each one fell through. And actually, the third attempt was right when COVID hit, so that was kind of a kick in the balls. But a lot of it did come from discussions on tobaccos, the knowledge of tobaccos, the flavor profile of the tobaccos, and then trying it. The factory that I'm currently with Chris Weber is the owner, Tabacalera Nuevo Nica. During the time frame when I left the first factory until I met up with Chris, I ordered tobacco online and had it delivered, and was really, I got big monkey paws, so these are not cigar rolling hands. They're not, they're not delicate.
Yeah, you gotta have smaller hands.
I'm like, horrible. But what I was doing was I was talking actually to Jeffrey Amendola, and we were talking about cigar blends and tobaccos that complement each other well. And I was ordering tobaccos, and I was smoking it and getting the flavor profile, and I would roll 2 of them together. And I was really trying to educate myself on these flavors and how they complement each other well. So when I met with Chris, we were discussing the prior blends, and the part of the blend I didn't like, the part of the blends that I did like, and what I wanted. So he did something really unique. Was he produced a sample of a cigar that was as close to the original blend as you could get, because there's going to be certain tobaccos that were not available in Nicaragua that we had in Honduras.
Yeah.
Then from there, do a cigar based off of what tobaccos I wanted to use and the percentages. And then the third was his interpretation based off of the tobaccos from the old blend to the new blend and what I was looking for. He's very thorough. It was very thorough. And that's really how we kind of came up with the blends.
Awesome. And so, so the blends that you have, which you sent to me, you got the Edition 35, Sweetgrass Gringo, Big Tony, and Sandella. So,
Sandella.
yeah. So each of those, like, just why did you choose like the certain tobaccos in each blend? Like, I know it's been a process, but like,
Yeah.
how did you get the idea for each of the names? And just like, did the names come before and then you just chose the tobaccos, or how did all that work for you?
Well, the Edition 35 did, that was like I said, when choosing the tobacco and the cigar, that was something I wanted to be kind of like, that is my number one cigar. It's my first one that came out, and I wanted it to reach a wide audience, right? Like, if you come in and you say, "Hey, yeah, I've been smoking maybe for a little bit. I like a mild to medium. I do like some medium." Boom, you can take the Edition 35. If you're someone that says, "Yeah, I've been smoking for a while. I like medium to full body, but I do like cigars that are flavorful and transition," boom, they can smoke it and enjoy it. So I wanted a cigar that could really, you cast that net and capture more than being just a very dark cigar with lots of pepper and blah 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 blah. So the name Edition 35 just came up because of my history with sports, and my older brother, God rest his soul. 35, it was his number, it was my number. And it was also a way to honor, all the guys who I went to college with and played football with, and my coach who passed away. So it was just one of those things where, when you're, especially with football, they don't know you by your name, they know you by your number. So
Yeah.
it was kind of that, unless your last name's Horny, then that's all they know you by. But that was really, the first blend, came up, and that was the name. The second blend, I love Candela. I'm a big Candela fan. But I wanted to do something different. So I started seeing there's a lot of Candelas out there. There's a triple barber pole. There's, the Medora, the San Andreas. And there was nobody out there doing a Candela and a Connecticut. And I wanted to get that dual flavor of having some sort of creamy spice with that grassy note. And when I saw the cigar for the first time, I was just like, I'm in South Carolina, so they have sweetgrass baskets down here. They make baskets, and they make different items out of sweetgrass, and it grows around here, and it's been around for hundreds of years. And when you look at the baskets, they look like a barber pole, the way that they're wrapped with the different, the dark green and the tan. And I looked at this and I was like, man, this looks like sweetgrass. And I was like, and I'm a gringo, so we'll just call it the Sweetgrass Gringo. And nobody liked the name. So that's when I knew I had a winner, when no one liked the name. So that's how I got the name with the Sweetgrass Gringo. The Big Tony was just a dark on dark barber pole I started working on in 2019, trying to work out a blend to get a flavor that was going to be bold, something a little bit different out there. Not many people were doing a dark on dark where the barber pole is just noticeable.
Yeah.
And I like dark. I wanted a little bit more bolder, stronger. I wanted to, name it after my dad, who was Big Tony. So, that's where that blend came from. It was a cigar that was going to best represent the kind of dad and the man who I look up to, which is strong, bold, but not overwhelming and peppery. Just has great flavor to it. then the Sandela was originally supposed to be the sister cigar to the Gringo, but with COVID, I decided just to launch the Gringo alone. And I love San Andreas and I love Candela. Those are my two favorite wrappers, and I just combined the two names. Can't with Sandela was just nothing really
And you
special.
know, like I'm not the. I mean, I'm pretty smart. Sometimes I'm not the sharpest tool in this shit, but I just realized that.
But yeah, I mean that's how I came up with Sandela. Was I've had a couple of Candela barber poles that were wrapped with Maduro San Andreas, and I just felt like the flavors were battling for my palate. So I wanted to do something where it was really going to be complimentary to take such a bold, thick wrapper like a San Andreas and then a bold, thick wrapper like a Candela and just make it work.
Yeah, and it's I mean, all these blends. You know, I'm smoking the Edition 35, and then the Sandela will be next. I'll probably smoke that later to end the night. But I mean, all these blends are just, I mean, they're very unique and, you know, they don't really taste like anything else that's out there. So I think that, you know, that was kind of your way with it. Like you don't want to have something that tastes the same as everything else. Like sometimes you'll have one blend and it's another brand and it's like, well, this is very close to this
Yeah.
blend type thing.
Yeah, definitely wanted something different, unique, one that was going to be, kind of reflect the cigar and the name as well. And something that, is going to be uh, having a core line of 4 blends in a humidor that will give you something different. Each one's going to give you something different. It's not going to be, well, hey, I've had, this particular blend of this brand. Great. Did you smoke that one? Yeah, it was a little bit like the other blend, but it wasn't as peppery. Where these are going to be they're going to be unique. They're going to be different. And that's really what I was shooting for. And like I said, the folks at the factory, I couldn't be any happier with the consistency of the construction, the quality of tobacco. That was really when I left the last factory and started looking for a new factory and having conversations. That for me was the number one most important thing. Was I don't care how great your blend is. If your cigar is has shitty construction, you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to enjoy the blend. You're not going to enjoy the cigar experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be it's gonna be terrible.
Yep.
And I used to do a cedar sleeve, and I was told a while back by someone, if you have a blend, you have a brand that you're proud of, you got to put a ring on it, right? So you got to put a ring on it. So I was like, you know what? When I left the old factory, the first thing I did was I freaking got cigar rings before I got into the factory, because I was determined and I knew that the next step I make with the next factory, that's the blend I'm going to be proud of to put a ring on it. And I had the cigar bands and everything printed and sent to me and created before I had a cigar to put it on.
Awesome. And we got one question that's been asked a few times. So they're asking about Lanceros, Cigar Crazy 84.
Lancero. We're going to be coming in the fall, man. I actually just talked to Chris tonight. My goal is to every year in the fall around November to come out with some Lanceros, right? Do a limited run. When they're gone, they're gone. We did it with the Edition 35 when it first came out, and they went over really well. I then started to get some samples of the Gringo, and it really translated well. Things really don't work out. So in the fall of 2020, God almighty, I'm sitting here getting my date. So in the fall of 2020, I decided to do a short run of box press to introduce everyone to the Sandela and to the Big Tony, and realize that, and when I go to the next factory, that's when we're going to kick up the Lanceros again. So we are looking at doing some other Vitolas along with the Lanceros. Right now, since I had a Rex at Boda Cigars bust my chops enough, I think we're gonna do a 5x56 Robusto. And I'm kicking around the idea of doing a Corona or petite Corona. I don't see a lot of barber poles in that size. So,
Nice.
yeah, that's going to be the next step with the Vitolas. And then to keep those Vitolas along with this, the 6x50. The old blend was a 6.5 by 52. I really think this 6x50 does really has a better, it just smokes better. I like the flavor profile better in this size.
Yeah.
But then have those 3 blends in circulation full time, and then do the Lanceros in the fall.
Nice. And with this ring gauge on these cigars, like it's perfect. Like people that really enjoy cigars, that really know what they're talking about with it, like I noticed that they don't smoke too big of a ring gauge. Like if it's a 60 ring gauge, it might be like a rarity, but mostly stay within the 50 to 52 ring gauge.
Yeah. I'm not a big ring gauge guy. I mean, but I think 56 may be a little bit, probably about as big as I would go. I think it's a really nice size where it's not too big, not too small. The only 6x60 I've ever done that I really enjoyed was the La Gloria Cubana Spanish press, box press 6x60. That's a great cigar.
Nice.
That's
I've had that, but not in the 6x60.
Great
So that's
cigar.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So why the move to a new factory, and what has been the response since moving production to the new factory?
Depends on who the response is from.
Yeah, well, I mean, just generally speaking, you don't have to I'm not here to try to push you into saying anything you don't want to say.
On the hot seat. Listen, things just didn't work out with the last factory. That's just the way it is, right? I mean, that's all I'll say about it. For one reason or the other. The feedback has been great. I mean, overall, Mike, I've been around in doing my show and visiting cigar shops and doing cigar shop reviews for 5 years. I have been really blessed with meeting a lot of fantastic people in the industry, a lot of great people in the industry. And most of the people who I can consider friends today have been meeting them at the cigar lounge and shops. Doesn't have to do with factories, doesn't have to do with cigars, being a cigar maker, just 100% the Stogie roads, the Viajante Stogie roads. That's where I really met most of these folks and most of my friends. And knowing and getting to know them, they got to know me. I'm not a personality. I'm not a personality on my show. I'm not a personality here. This is who I am. If someone calls me afterwards, this is exactly who they're going to get. They know I'm just straightforward and honest. I love this industry. I try and help out anybody I can. I was doing cigar shop reviews, and I was interviewing boutique cigar brand owners. I have an online store where I just featured sample packs of boutique cigars to help move and get people to introduce them to these brands. I was doing virtual cigar events 4 years ago, and I just really enjoy that whole environment. When it starts to get to be a toxic environment, that's not cool. I'm not having fun anymore. I got to get out of it.
Yeah.
So when I left and I decided to move to another factory, I had a lot of people reach out to me. A lot of people support me. A lot of people I was surprised who reached out. Some folks I was surprised reached out to me and talked to me about the move. But all knew the reasons why, the real reasons why, and supported me 100%. I think I left in mid-December and made the announcement in January. So when the announcement came out, I had people contacting me. I had people reaching out to me saying, "Hey, you ought to try this factory." I had factories reaching out to me saying, "Hey, we'd like to, work with you, with your brand." And we were working with a couple different factories, checking out samples. And I had a very good friend of mine who I love and respect dearly, and I've known for a long time. connect me with Chris. Chris wasn't even on my radar at the time. And when I met with Chris, we started talking. We talked for over an hour and didn't even talk cigars because he's from Southeast Pennsylvania, Delaware area. I'm from Pennsylvania, around that area. I went to school in Delaware, and we found out that we had a lot of commonality. We had a lot of similar, mutual friends, and just really hit it off well. And I liked what he was doing with his factory. I was familiar with his brand Veritas, and we just hit it off, and it was a no-brainer. So we've been getting a lot of support, and when the new brands come out, we've been consistently moving the cigar brands. Now, there's going to be a handful of folks that are going to be, who they're going to be, and it is what it is. I give a shit, but everyone will come around because the cigar tells the truth, man. And when you smoke them, you're gonna really fall in love with them because there's a story behind it. But more importantly, there's great construction, there's great quality tobacco, and the blends are incredible.
Yep, and just a testament to the construction. So before we even went live, I lit the cigar and I accidentally somehow there was a torn part of the wrapper or whatever. I just was nice with it, and it's smoking great. It's not falling apart or anything.
I do the same thing, especially when I'm on the show, because my arm's here and the ashtray's here. I'll be like, boom, and I'm like, crap. It'll F it up, and then you just kind of give it a little burn, and then it auto corrects. It's nice. I mean,
you got my buddy from Australia tuning in.
All right, good morning, Mike. Mate. Good morning. Thanks for joining. So that was the reception really of moving factories. People know me. They realize that it wasn't any reason just hopping for the hell of it. And the people who are close to, we talked about some things, and other folks who were asking. I told them, hey, it's it just didn't work out.
Yeah. Here, Kevin has a question here, so I'll let you read that real quick.
Recently, Ron Brown. Ron. I'm pretty good buds with Ron. I love Ron. Ron is hardworking. He's an honest, hardworking guy. He just is.
Yep, absolutely.
And anybody who tries to tell you otherwise is just full of shit.
Yeah.
He's a guy who doesn't rely on anything else other than his hard work and the sweat of his brow, and just the connections that he makes. Did Ron Brown ask your opinion when developing his new blends? Yeah, Ron and I talked about his blends. We did. We talked about what he wanted to do and his vision, and where he saw RTB cigars going. And he's my friend, and I love him dearly. And hell yeah, I gave him advice. I'd be a bad friend if I didn't.
Absolutely. And I've gotten to know Ron just through the virtual herfs, like on Smoke In and the Cigar Dojo Whereby chat rooms. And this guy is he's awesome. He's been on the show already, and he nonstop the whole night afterwards in the virtual herf. He's like, bro, that's the best interview I've ever done. So he's very humble.
Yeah,
and
he is.
Just an awesome dude. Like whenever I have family in North Carolina, so next time I go up that way, I'm definitely meeting up with him. And I just got a new vehicle, so whenever I do make it up there, then I'll.
Carolina?
Huh?
Where in North Carolina?
In Lincolnton, outside of Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm an hour and a half from Charlotte.
Okay. Yeah, because I think you live over by where my friend Erica Everett. She's an independent broker. She reps for Espinosa, HVC, and a few others.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in Greenville, South Carolina. What's up, YA Bear Clothing?
Yeah. She's from my area.
Okay. Yeah.
And she also co-owns Executive Sanford. Yeah, so Executive is in Melbourne, and then they have a sister location that, she's a partner in. So
she's in Spartanburg, I think I've seen.
Yeah, she's in Spartanburg.
Yeah, that's right up the road from me.
So yeah, if you ever run into her, that's somebody common that that we both know is awesome.
Yeah. I'm actually wearing my new Guayabera from YA Bear Clothing.
Nice.
I've known Joe Genovese and Ann Genovese for years. Actually, before I did cigars, we bought the Guayabera, and they've always been a sponsor of the show from day one. Every year we come out with a new Guayabera that has something to do with our brand. We did the Big Tony last year, and I know that I saw what he and Jennifer have been working on, and the new one's going to be really off the hook. It's going to be cool.
Awesome.
Great people there, man. I'm telling you, great people. Go to yabearclothing.com and you can use a VSR Cigar Fam a code for 10% off. But great people, man. Great people.
Awesome. Now, just going kind of back, moving on from what we were talking about before, because I had a few people, when they found out you were going to be on this show, they wanted you to address something. But
Go ahead.
so the BCA, are you still a part of that, and are you going to be attending their event coming up?
No and no.
No.
No and no. No.
I had to ask the hot button question because like a lot of people were asking about it. So
it's a fair question, right? I mean,
yep.
And I've said this before. I don't talk about the reason why the factory. It is what it is. We left.
Yeah. I don't want it to be like I don't need it to be like a bashing session or nothing.
Right?
Like that.
No,
that's not the situation.
No, not at all. And I usually like to focus more on positive than the negatives, right? I mean, the more airplay you give someone, even negatives, more airplay. But no, I've actually last month I sent a letter in, kind of officially stepping down as the vice president of the BCA, because apparently I was still the vice president. I never got an invite or notification being a member of the BCA to join the BCA event. And I just was like, I was not digging that vibe. So I was like, all right, well, if it's a BCA event, I'm a BCA member. Shouldn't we all be invited? So when I didn't get it, I was like, all right, well, here's the letter. I just take my name off and take my brand off. And, and it is a little touchy because I spent a lot of time with the BCA. I put a lot of time. What's up, Allison? I spent a lot of time and put a lot of effort and put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and love into the BCA. But que sera, right?
Yeah, it is what it is. Now we're gonna move on to something a little lighter, but so you
got on that hot button and got off real quick, Mike. That was good.
Yeah, you got to know how to play it right. Like learning to interview people. You don't want to. You just gotta you gotta do what you do and then move on. So I've talked. Kevin's been on my show as well.
Kevin Shahan.
Yeah, and
never heard of him.
Yeah, right. Fuck that guy.
I don't know that guy.
Yeah, so you guys do the broadleaf bullies and all that, which I enjoy that because it's more like you guys really don't prepare anything. You just kind of you just meet up on there and just talk, right?
Listen, even if we did prepare something, it's me and Jennifer, my fiance, and it's Kevin and Jessica, his fiance. So any type of organization is going to go out the window at that point in time. It just is. I mean, there's no structure. It's more of couples therapy.
Yeah,
it really is. It's turned into couples therapy because it's funny is 2019. I was like, I was doing another podcast and I was thinking about naming it the broadleaf bullies because I'm being around from the Philly area. I grew up watching the Broad Street Bullies, the Philadelphia Flyers from the 70s, 75 was the broadleaf bully or the Broad Street Bullies. And I'm like, man, broadleaf bully sounds great. So I got the website, just started a group page and just kind of sat on it for a little bit. And then when we started to talk about doing a podcast, I was like, why don't we just call ourselves, we were kicking around names and that one came up and it just stuck. We all loved it.
Awesome. Yeah, I really enjoy it because it's like, it's just very, you guys just talk about everything from and it's been a while. I started off following it every week and I kind of fell off the wagon, but I'm gonna probably listen again tonight. But man, I
They're
tell you,
fun.
like it's hilarious stuff, like just straight off the cuff type stuff.
Yeah, there's more f bombs in that freaking show than there are in Scarface some nights. It really is just a lot of fun, and we kind of play on the whole term bullies, right? Because
Yeah,
no one likes a bully. Don't want to offend anybody or get sent canceled, but it's kind of a play on bullies just because we're friendly, funny, bullies. We bully each other, really, is what it boils down to it. And
yeah,
Kevin and I will kind of gang up on Jess and bully her a little bit to get her wound up, just to get good radio. Or
yeah,
I'll start picking on Jennifer about something, and she won't say much, but she'll give me that look, and I'm like, man, it's is it really worth 2 hours of the show to deal with any crap afterwards? And in my back of my head, it's always like, yes, of course it is. Of course it is. But we have a lot of fun with it. We really do. And I love Kevin and Jess. I mean, 2020 was a brutal year, man. It was a
yeah,
brutal year for everybody. And, I have another job and I was furloughed and for a couple of months. And then I lost my brother at the end of June, beginning of July, suddenly. My older brother, my only brother. And my birthday's in September, and I'm sitting here at my desk working, just still kind of in a daze, right? I mean, I lost my brother a couple months ago, and I'm just doing work. And I look up, and there's a 6'2" macho man standing in my freaking garage door looking at me. And I just start laughing. Here, Kevin drove up from Florida to spend my birthday with me.
yeah,
Just spend a couple of days hanging out, went out, grabbed something to eat, and just smoked cigars, man. And that speaks volumes.
yeah. Now Kevin's a good dude. He's helped me a lot with what I do, and I don't I may not even even ask him all the time. Sometimes he'll just follow what I do and just be like, hey, change this, change that. And just above the helping though, just he's a good person, like in general,
He
like
is.
genuine. What you see is what you get type of person. So
Yeah, and I think some
and
people
Jess
may
too,
even give him I think some people may give him a bad rap or whatever or something, but he's a straight shooter. I think he's a genuinely great guy, a genuine person. Like you said, what you see is what you get. And when you really get to know him, he is probably one of the most sensitive, genuine, generous people you'd ever want to meet. Sorry, Kevin, if I'm blowing your cover, but he just is a very genuine and generous person, and he's helped me a great deal. I mean,
hmm
especially with this, because you're like, just because you've been doing something for a long period of time doesn't mean that you're doing it the best it could be done. You know,
Yeah,
so, but it's a lot of fun. Jen and Jess became good friends because they're both from Jersey, so they have that simpatico Jersey thing, the jug handle state. Can't
yeah,
make a left hand turn. Um, so then when we get those two together on the show, it doesn't take much to get them fired up and get them off on a rampage on something. I don't know.
yeah. You mean that Kevin guy that smokes those acids?
Like him.
Yeah, awesome dude. Yeah, now that I have a car, I'll be, sometime I'm gonna go over because I haven't been over to the west coast of Florida in a while because I was sharing a car over there for a while, but things are looking up, so I'm gonna be making appearances in places I haven't been in a while. But yeah, broadleaf bullies. I love when the jersey comes out though. That's just my favorite part, like
I
hands down.
I'm telling you, I'm one of those guys who I'm a firm believer in, and I don't believe adult males should be wearing jerseys of anybody who's younger than them. So that's kind of my thing. Jerseys, it's like, if you're going to wear a jersey, it's got to be someone like, if I'm going to wear a jersey, it's going to be a hockey jersey of like Bobby Clark or someone who's older. But the specially made, we're going to have to get a broadleaf bullies jersey made, most definitely.
Oh yeah, I think that would be dope. And
Yeah.
in hip hop culture, the jerseys were more of the mid 2000s thing. I used to rock a few jerseys, but now it's now the people in the hip hop community are wearing these skinny jeans and all that. But but I'm in my early 30s, so I'm in the lower end of the being an old head now because I lived through the good parts of hip hop in the 90s and 2000s,
Yeah.
and then now it's just a bunch of craziness. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, one last topic, and then we're gonna get into the fun questions. So, what was it? It was last year, I believe. Yeah, it was like last year, beginning of this year. I can't remember, the time's gotten away, but you partnered with Melanie Cisco was helping you out and doing the fundraiser.
Yeah.
Was that something that you've done quite a bit of in the past, but
Yeah.
has this like been like the biggest one that you've done so far?
Yeah, I think personally for us, individually, yeah. I mean, our son Joseph is a leukemia survivor.
Yep.
So we've always been involved with the LLS. They do the Man of the Year, Woman of the Year event, and they always select the Boy and Girl of the Year. And Joe is the Boy of the Year for 3 years. So we always donated time doing videos for the LLS, raising money, attending fundraisers. So the beginning of the year 2020, it was like I think I got my hair cut in like December, and then COVID hit, and I was just like my hair started growing, started getting longer and longer and longer, and I was just like, we should just do a fundraiser. So we did Cares Cut for a Cure, and I think it was December 12th or 13th. We did an event where we shaved my head and we donated my hair, but we did raise money, and we had a lot of people donating cigars and watches, and I mean there were so many people that were so generous, and Melanie Cisco was huge in that, and so were the Fuentes.
Yep.
I can't thank them enough for how much money they donated, but how much attention they had given our cause, and how much money we raised because of that. I think we raised $15,000,
Wow,
and
that's
we're able to
awesome.
donate that to the LLS, as well as doing the Locks of Love. I think that was it, right, Jennifer? Locks of Love. I can't remember. There's a couple of different companies that get involved with donating hair. So, yeah, there is so many great people, and like I said, I know the Fuentes. I mean, they donated freaking cigars. God Almighty! I mean,
Yep.
it was so amazing.
I won a
I
box of Casa Cuba.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember when I got the package from them, the way it was just boxed was freaking awesome. And I opened it up and I'm looking at all these boxes of cigars and the glasses and the coffee mugs and all these things. And I'm like, hey, none of y'all won. I don't know what happened to the package because this is so beautiful. But the generosity and those who reached out during that time, it was just amazing and tremendous, and that was really eye opening on just how generous the cigar community is.
Oh yeah, no, it was a good time, and just watching that, you get your hair cut, and whenever I have a chance, I try, even if I, like at that time, like work was kind of slow, and so I wasn't able to donate that much. Actually, I don't think I was working, but either way, I still made a donation because it was something, I like to give back any way I can, and it was not even that large of a donation, but shoot, the
Every
fact,
little bit helps, man. Every
yeah,
little bit helps, and that
yeah, but
those are the best
That's
donations
not
in my
important, but the
opinion.
important part is the giving back, and that no matter what, because that's just how I've always been. But the cool part was like I won that, I won the Casa Cubas, and and they were good.
Oh yeah, I mean, but in my opinion, some of those are we got donations, and man, when you're talking about going through a tough time,
Yeah,
a lot of layoffs, a lot of job loss, a lot of just really bad things happening to folks. And knowing that a $10 or $20 donation, for some folks is a lot, especially during
yeah,
that time. It was really moving. It really was. I mean, people who are truly humble and just donated what little bit they could for a cause, and it all adds up. And I thank everybody who donated, everybody who was involved, everybody who donated their time and effort. And like I said, that was a time where the Fuentes and Melanie just really were so generous with their time, and I can't thank them enough for that.
Absolutely. All right, so we reached the part of the show, and by the way, this show has been going great. I was worried about filling the time. I wanted to make sure we were talking about enough, but should we just flow with it? So at this point, we got the fun questions. So sometimes I'll do trivia, but we're just gonna do some creative. You can answer. We might all be surprised by your answer,
Uh
but nothing too crazy.
oh. Okay.
But anyway, so the first thing is, where are some unusual places you've been?
Oh man. I don't know if I can say half of them on live. On live. God, that's a great question. I really wouldn't know how to describe unusual. I've been to some pretty seedy places I shouldn't have been with some friends of mine because that's where they were driving to.
Yeah.
Especially some of those dark areas of Jersey that you don't want to be in. But I don't know. That's a tough one. I'll have to come back to that one because I really can't think of any crazy place or or what that would be. I mean, I'm pretty conservative, believe it or not. But there was a few years there where we ended up in some weird places because I was not behind the wheel of the vehicle and I'm in the back seat going,
I think we all have.
"We're in a hell. Seriously, why are we here? Like, this is not a good area, and why are the police behind us?" And you know,
Yeah.
um, but I think one of the funniest places that we used to go to was Marydale, and that was on the Maryland Delaware border. We used to go there Sundays because that's where you could buy beer, and we used to stop at this freaking. It was like you almost were afraid it was like Deliverance. You'd show up and you'd buy your alcohol and you get the hell out of there because you wanted to make sure that you didn't stick around there for too long.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. And so what weird food combinations do you really enjoy?
Oh, I don't know if they would. I don't think they would consider them weird, but I do have I do like kettle chips with milk. I like drinking milk when eating kettle chips.
I've never heard of that, but I also don't like milk anymore, so
I love milk. I've always loved milk. I could drink milk at any time, but yeah, that's like my favorite snack. I mean, you can take your Oreos, all the cookies, shit, I don't care. But if you give me a good bag of kettle chips and a glass of milk, I'm good to go. I also like putting chips. I used to when we growing up because I'm from Lebanon, Pennsylvania. We'd have Lebanon bologna. Is putting potato chips on Lebanon bologna sandwich and eating that. That's a good one too.
mm. What social stigma does society need to get over?
That people are inherently bad.
Mm.
I think just as a society, the stigmas are you're so quick to want to judge everybody and think that their intentions are bad, and we don't take enough time to really, we're just in that generation where they want to pick up a phone and just record something and just give you part of the story and not really get the whole story, and they want to be so quick just to label someone as bad. And I think that one of the things I learned through traveling and in cigar lounges is so much is left at the door, and you really get to know people. When you're smoking a cigar, you get to know individuals. It doesn't matter what your race is. It doesn't matter what your religion is or your economic stature, your job. I mean, everything is kind of it's a great equalizer. So I think that if society would kind of take the direction from what you see in a cigar lounge, I think we'd get along a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the cigar lounge is a model for how things should be.
It really is. I mean, it's amazing. It's just simply amazing in some of the shops that I've been in, and like the cast of characters that are in the cigar lounge, and it's like you just for me. I just think that that social stigma is that everyone's bad, and I think if you take some time when you're real in a really serious moment in a cigar lounge, I think you leave so much at the door, and you find out that we're all the same. We all, you know, uh, we all have families, we have goals, ambitions, and um, you really get to know people.
Absolutely. Um, what food have you never eaten but would really like to try?
That's a tough question because I'm a large mammal. So whenever I get an opportunity to try different foods, I try different foods. And one of the areas that really opened me up to a number of different foods was when I was working up in Northern Virginia outside of DC. I had Ethiopian food, I had Vietnamese food. I was exposed to just so many different cultures up there. It was exciting. So I really can't think about what food I would want to try that I haven't tried yet, because I think I've been able to really um get a good taste of so many different foods within regions of the US, but then outside the US as well.
Mm, definitely. I prepare more than enough, so I'm just gonna do a few more. So, do you
Yeah.
think that aliens exist?
Yeah, I do. I've always been in. I've since I was a kid. UFOs have always fascinated me. Um, I think that you know there has to be something out there. I mean, um, I I've always been intrigued with UFOs, and I think the more that we see coming out now, it's just and with the technology that we have and what we can film and what we're capturing, I definitely think that something is going on, and it's um, really you start to think about not only are there a life, because when you start thinking about um, the universe, you start thinking about what we know, what we can comprehend. If there is intelligence, and if their technology is far beyond what we can comprehend, anything's possible. So, and then you start thinking about, there's folks that talk about that, it's not really aliens, it's just interdimensional travel, and that there are different dimensions. And that's the reason why you see some of these crafts move the way that they do. So I find it pretty interesting, especially when, you talk about, some of the, um, theoretical physicists and what they believe in. And since we watch a lot of Big Bang Theory, I think it's kind of introduced me to the physics. But I mean, I definitely think that there's life elsewhere, and I think that some of the things that we're being visited by is pretty interesting on what it is.
All right. And so, last thing here, when was the last time you got to tell someone "I told you so"?
Daily.
Daily.
Daily. I don't though. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I think no. Yeah, I told you so. Thing is just a little too. Uh, you know that you told them. They know that you told them. So there's really no reason to say, "Hey, I told you so."
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, there's been a couple of moments where it's like, yeah, here's the way it's gonna go. See, I told you. That's what you expect. So, but look at Jennifer Daly. I know, right? It's but I don't say it. I don't say it. I just kind of give you the look. Like
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think I heard that
sometimes you can
somewhere.
say it without saying "I told you so." Like, I think
Yeah,
that's how most of us do.
yeah. It's like, oh, really, really, did that happen? And like, oh, really? Yeah, I think I heard that somewhere.
Yeah.
But we joke around about it in the house here, and it's one of those things, like you said. It's usually an unspoken conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, man, I appreciate you for coming on the show tonight, man. It was an awesome time.
Oh man, I appreciate you having me, bro. This was a lot of fun, man. It
Yeah.
really was.
That's what I do, man. Make sure, have a good show, just vibe. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah,
Is
I
there
mean,
anything before we go? Is there anything that you wanted to put out there into the world, or you know?
to the world. I mean, you can check out more about our Uncle Larry. See, I told you Stogie Road Cigars. That's great. Thank you, Larry. I mean, if you will learn more about the blends, you can go to stogieroadcigars.com. That tells you a little bit more about our blends. We're actually building right now something a little unique on the site where cigar shops that support our brand will be able to open up an account through Stogie Road Cigars and be able to place orders through Stogie Road Cigars for product when they need it. So there's more to come with that. The VSRcigarfam.com, that's our webpage. We have our samplers on there. If you want to buy some and give it a try, please do. That's VSRcigarfam.com. We even started doing, I mean, I love the cigar industry. I love everything about it, coffee, food, music. And we even have our own seasoned salt as well, Stogie Road seasoned salt and some barbecue sauce too. You can find that on the website as well. And we are, oh yeah, I'm glad we got this. So I want to tell you, we have an announcement where Stogie Road Cigars is going to be available in the UK.
Nice.
We just worked out a deal with a distributor, and more to come on the specifics about that. But I want to thank my good friend Des Hammond of Cigar Cabin, who we got to be really good friends and had an opportunity to connect with someone who really, is interested in carrying our cigars, as well as being a distributor in the UK and a couple other countries in Europe. So we just packed up an order and we're getting ready to ship it out, and that's a really exciting time for us.
Awesome. You heard it here first on Herf Zone Live. That's what I do,
Yeah,
is I break exclusives.
exclusivo. And working with Sean from Rebellion Cigars in the UK, I'm really excited to work with him, and I'm excited to also introduce his cigars here in the States. I've had a few, and they're fantastic. They're made in Dominican Republic, but I want to thank you for having me on, Mike.
Yep.
Thank everybody for joining and supporting the Stogie Road Cigars. I want to thank, like I said, Joseph Genovese from YA Bear Clothing. They've been just such a huge supporter from day one. And then thank Chris and all the folks down at Tabacalera Nuevo Nica. They've been a great partner thus far. The cigars that they're producing out of that factory are fantastic. The construction's on point. The quality tobacco is incredible, and I couldn't be any happier right now working with them. And I'm really looking forward to not only this Lanceros, but then some of the other Vitolas that we're coming out with.
Awesome. Well, everybody out there that tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you haven't already, I'm getting close to 400 subscribers on YouTube. So make sure
All
you go
right,
subscribe if
congratulations.
you are not already a subscriber, and share the show via YouTube. That way it attracts more subscribers and all that good stuff. Kerr, thanks so much for coming on, and I will let you know when we're not live and all that good stuff. So give me one moment here. You guys have a great